Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I'm going to talk about the official trailer that came out for Thor Love and Thunder. If you haven't seen it already, I'll include a link to it in the description down below. I think this trailer also does a really good job of doing kind of very similar to the teaser trailer, where it gives you some of the scenes we saw from the teaser trailer, but giving us a little bit more without giving us everything. We finally get our first look at Gorr the God Butcherer. And I think I'd heard some stuff about his backstory. Once again, I'm not the comic person, so I'm not well versed in this whole backstory. But the fact is that he talks about how gods are selfish and they only look out for themselves, and he's making his pledge to kill all gods. I'm assuming that gods, whether it's like the gods from his planet, failed him, and so now he's going to take it out on all gods, because he's like, right, gods tend to be selfish, which is interesting because we have seen that has been an aspect about Thor's character. We've seen, obviously, he's changed over the course of the first movie he was definitely extremely selfish and cocky, and he had to prove himself to be worthy again, but obviously he's continued to do that. But obviously we don't know, obviously we're going to get introduced to like the Greek pantheon, and who knows what other pantheons we get introduced to. For that to be the beginning of Thor's arc, of him fitting the description of what Gorr like hates about gods, Thor kind of represented that in the first movie. He's long since moved past that, because even Gorr says, like, right, you are different from any other god I've killed, because he has something that's important to him other than himself. Like, Thor has grown to become a hero and moved past just being the selfishness of a god. Now, granted, if this was Loki, a different Loki, I think even the Loki from the show Loki has grown into his own and has moved past his own selfishness to an extent. So they probably wouldn't be the same, because, you know, he's found love and Thor's potentially found love again. We're going to get to that in a second. So I just think that's kind of interesting for this to kind of come around. So it's almost like, in a way, I feel like you can almost take that through line and it's almost coming full circle in certain regards, but it's just showing how different Thor is from the other gods. How he isn't just stuck in his own ways. He went out, became a hero on Earth, you know, and has always tried to do the right thing. And obviously we get more of Jane in this trailer. Obviously Thor not recognizing her immediately until her helmet's is off, and he's like, oh my god, Jane, and she's like, how long has it been, like 3 or 4 years? He's like, oh, it's 8 years, so and so amount of change, which I wonder, is that supposed to be like a wink and nod to the potentiality that she was snapped? Because she's like, oh, it's been 3 or 4 years. Like, it's like, right, probably because it's maybe in her mind it's been that long, but it's been longer. The reason why it's been 8 years is because of the 5-year time skip because of Endgame. So because I would also, because I guess I feel like Thor would have found her. Once again, it's that whole thing of like, right, this is coming out after Endgame, so they didn't have this all planned out. But I'm sure they could justify it to be like, right, if Jane was around, Thor would have found her, regardless of them being broken up, considering the state of the world, not just the world, the universe. He probably would have tracked her down. So the fact that she got snapped and came back, and once again, we don't know the elements that led to her getting Mjolnir and becoming Thor herself. So the question then becomes, well, once again, how did that happen? Obviously I know we'll get the answer in the movie, but just, you know, kind of letting you know my thoughts and stuff. Once again, how she even put Mjolnir back together too. I do like that, because obviously we see at one point, like in a teaser trailer, like, oh, Thor's almost like on this pirate adventure and there's like a blue-haired lady he's kissing. We do get the story's being told through Korg's perspective, at least for the sake of the trailer. We don't know I don't know if the movie's gonna be structured like that, because it'd be interesting if that was the case, if we're kind of having Korg recount everything and the story's kind of being told from his perspective. So I think using that as a plot device would be really interesting. Like I said, it might have just been done for the trailer and might not be a main element we see in the movie. I hope it would be, because I think you could do a lot of fun things with that. But I like this being a situation where Thor and Jane are reunited, and maybe kind of like a budding romance has started, because it also seems like this is her first bad guy type of situation, because she's like, oh yeah, you know, my first bad guy and stuff. So it's like, right, so she hasn't been Thor for very long. So it seems like it is a very recent development. We get a little bit more with Valkyrie. Obviously we see Valkyrie with Jane, Korg, and Thor, but so we're still not really getting any stuff about New Asgard and everything. So I think it's interesting too that we're just not getting too much about everything that's going on with Valkyrie. So why she decided to tag along, because I guess to be fair, if this is all about Gorr, I guess he'd eventually be coming after everyone in New Asgard too. So it's like probably trying to cut that off at the path before, you know, it ends up escalating. I mean, how they end up getting to, I guess maybe the story is going to be them rallying other gods. So maybe they go to the Greek pantheon and they're trying to gather allies, and they have to go through a whole rigmarole to get the Greek gods on their side to fight. Maybe it's that thing of like, oh, these gods, they're so full of themselves, and they're like, oh, whatever comes our way, we'll be able to face it, and they all get wiped. Maybe that's what's happened. We'll have to wait. Because we do see at one point Gorr is stabbing his sword into a planet and destroying it. Planet or moon, wherever it is. Because it looked pretty desolate, but it could easily have been a planet. So I'm wondering what the circumstances was that. Is that him killing a god? Maybe that's his own planet he's destroying just because there's nothing left of it. That's his way of killing the gods of his world. We'll have to ultimately wait and see. But obviously, these are just some of my thoughts. I love to get to know yours in the comments down below. What are some things you want to see from this movie? What are some things you expect to see in the movie? Just let me know all your thoughts. Really, that's all I want to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and goodbye.